Everybody, Rich Lang with Prep You, actually down here in the bunker for a change. Hey, as the title of this video states, does your plan work? It's always a big question. Does your plan work? Over the years, we have talked about all kinds of stuff. Preparing the plan, planning, what to plan for, how to plan, things you need to plan, how to take your gear from, hey, it fits in my car, but now my car won't go any further. Now I'm on my bike. Dang, my bike's got a flat tire. Now I gotta hike it. Teach you how to downgrade your stuff from I gotta have, I probably need to, well, I really would like to take this with. And it goes down and down and down. We've talked about that kind. We talked about, the chances of sheltering in place are 90% plus. The chance of bugging out are 5% and less, and how to plan for that. Storage, what you need. Planning for your car, what's in your car in the winter, what's in the summer, what kind of water to take. You don't carry water in plastic bottles, you carry water in aluminum. I've showed you, the stuff that I like is called liquid death. It kills your thirst. So it's a great little play on words, shall we say. But we have done a couple hundred videos over the years about prepping. You have probably heeded a lot of the warnings that we have given you about prepping and stuff like that. And you're all set to go. Have you tested your plan? Have you done the smallest thing that you possibly do is you have your bags, you know what bags you're taking. Do they fit in your car? Do you have everything that you wanted to take with you? Or the other side to that, which would be good, hey, I've got more room. I can fit another bag in here. A bag of, probably non-essential, nice to have kind of things, that make your life, keep your life first world instead of second or third world, if shit really does hit the fan. Well, that's what this video is about. This video is actually about, does your plan work? And we want to look at a few things about your plan, because if you haven't activated your plan, not all the way, you don't have to go all the way with your plan, but just loading your car and heading out, how long does it take? Does it actually take, different times? Did you try leaving at 5 in the morning? Have you tried to leave, at rush hour, morning rush hour, afternoon rush hour, and see what it's like? Now compound that, because are you ahead of the curve? Have you watched your scenarios, your situations, your surroundings, and you see what's coming down the line? And are you out of here in time? Or do you really not pay attention, or you're waiting for a family member, or you gotta go to work and take care of this first, and then I'm gonna bug out, and everybody else is bugging out with you? Or are you the last to leave? And now you're trying to get around everything people left behind. And you're a target of those people that didn't plan at all. So you've got to think about those kind of things. I once heard a general state, let me read it so I don't get it wrong. The best battle plan starts to break down after 5 minutes. I've also heard generals say, after the first shot is fired, all the planning's out the window. And then you go to your backup. That is so important to have a backup. And the only way you're going to need or know that you need a backup is to try your plan, and what if it to death. There are so many things that can go wrong. The escape vehicles at the shop. Maybe it's getting tires put on it, or maybe it's got an oil change, or maybe whatever. Supplies don't fit. I just talked about that. Family members can't get home, and we do have some videos on that about what to do if a family member doesn't get home, meetup places and code words and all kinds of stuff. And actually having your kids at school have their own bug out bags, or if they live in their own apartment someplace, away from you, they know where the location is to meet and stuff like that. The roads are blocked or out, or there's so many people on the roads you can't get through. You know, what if that happens? I mean, you all know that I was a fireman for 35 years, Boy Scout leader for probably about 10. When we trained, which was all the time, we just didn't sit around and, you know, eat bonbons and play checkers and watch TV. You know, our training revolved around basically, here's the scenario. Now what? What's next? What if? And basically, now what was, the action plan was not working. So we had to totally change our action. What's next? The action plan was working, absolutely working. So your next set of guys coming in, what's next? What are you gonna do? What if? And I know you can what if everything to death. You know, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? If you just take a look at the things that there's a 50% chance of happening, and what if those scenarios, bounce it off your other family members, or bounce it off your survival pods. We talked about this a long time ago. I coined the phrase survival pod. Survival pod is your group of individuals that you are prepping with. My prepping pod, I have got military people, I have police, I have other firemen, I have medics. I have people that are in the business world in supplies. I've got other teachers that we basically talk a lot back and forth, and we throw scenarios at each other. We get together every once in a while, a lot of times at the range, and we go over things. One thing we have never done is we have not done a full-blown what if, let's get the heck out of Dodge now. Let's meet up at our different locations, and you want to have different locations because you don't know where the threat's coming from. We haven't done a full-blown thing like that. We have done that stuff like that in the fire service, and a lot of those guys know exactly where I'm coming from when I talk about, you know, those major, you know, what ifs. But we do that all the time in the fire service, and that's what you should be doing. You know, what about if all your gear doesn't fit, and you've got it planned out, you got everything going? Let me take a little tidbit from going to Philmont. For those of you in scouting that have been to Philmont, New Mexico, and gone hiking from anywhere from 5 days to 11 days, you know what they call is a shakeout. A shakeout is basically taking all your gear and take a look what everybody has. And there are certain items that not everybody needs to take in your family. Everybody doesn't need, you know, a personal care kit. Everybody doesn't need, you know, suntan lotion. Everybody doesn't need, you take one or two and you reduce the amount. Because remember, if you go from car to bike and now you're hiking, an ounce in the morning is a pound in the afternoon. All right, and you're gonna wanna carry a lot of water, and that's a lot of poundage right there. So anything else you can get rid of, the niceties, the, you know, first world items that you really don't need if you're trying to survive and save yourself and your family, you can get rid of that stuff, you know, and it reduces space and weight. Well, if you reduce the space, that gives you more room for food, for water, for ammunition, an additional firearm. And just like I have 3-tiered stockpiling, I have 3-tiered packing. And we kind of alluded to this in the beginning. Level 1, must-haves. Those are the ones that should be no more than a very large backpack that you can throw on your back if you have to hike it out, okay? Level 2, nice to have. Okay, it's nice to have. It'll be a little bit better. I could use it. It isn't a luxury, but it isn't a necessity. It falls in that one. And level 3 are first world items, you know. So maybe you want an extra, you know, extra comfy, you know, ground layer, you know, to keep the cold out. Instead of having one this thick, you know, that would be first world. This would be, you know, gotta haves, because you don't want to sleep on the ground. A gotta have would be just a piece of sheet, plastic sheet, you know, to keep the moisture out. You know, And this is handy when not everything fits. So when you're loading your car and you're bugging out, you go, I'm full, I don't need this stuff. Leave it behind. You know, I suppose you could strap it on top of the car and take it with, but you're kind of a red flag that you're bugging out, and what else you got inside that car? You know, because when you break down or the road becomes impassable, you've got to be ready to hike out, you know. And are you and your family members ready to hike on? Maybe you are. We have a video about, you know, uh, being fit to survive, fit to escape. I know it's, you know, people are saying, oh, all that fitness stuff, you know, that's for the young at heart and stuff like that. It's for everybody. You have to stay fit. If you expect to survive, you have to stay fit. I'm not saying you have to look like Adonis or anything like that, but you need to have good leg muscles, strong back, good arms, you know, and that goes along with, you know, good boots and good clothes and stuff like that, obviously. But your body has to be ready to go at a moment's notice, okay? And the same thing with your family. How much can your family carry? How much can your wife carry? How much can your kids carry? How old are your kids? You know, maybe you've got, you know, younger kids that are 5 and 6 years old. Maybe all they're carrying is a little bit of water, a few snacks, and some coloring books and crayons and some cards and stuff like that. That's fine, because that's all necessary stuff. Believe it or not, all that stuff is necessary, you know, when you're out there trying to entertain the kids. And then as they get older, you could add weight to their packs and alleviate or add more to stuff that you're going to take. You've got to think about all that stuff. You know, hiking shoes, fitness levels, all that kind of stuff is really important, you know, in your plan. Because if you plan on your 7-year-old carrying a 40-pound pack and he can't make it, now you're carrying along with the 60-pound or 80-pound pack that you're wearing. All right? You know, and is your gear set up to carry? Okay? And I'm mostly talking about, you know, your must-haves. Your must-haves need to be in carryable backpacks. You know, maybe they're a hiker's backpack, stuff you know, larger stuff. Backpacks for school work great. You could have one on the front and your bigger one on the back, and you're carrying out. But it has to be accessible, ready to go. You can't be repacking when it's in the car. It's got to be packed, set, and you're out of there. Okay? You need that stuff set up to carry. Basically, by testing your plan and playing what if, now what, and what's next, your plan will get better. Your family will be better. They'll understand the plan better, and it will increase your chance for survival. And if you are not getting your family involved in this plan, if you're not getting your family involved in what they need to carry, you know, because you as a guy, do you know what your wife needs? All right, maybe you don't even know what your kids need, you know, but by talking to your wife and planning it through, you'll know her needs. Let her go out and get her stuff, okay? Explain to her, though. It's absolutely necessary stuff, just like with your kids. Don't be taking 100 games along with, do they still make Game Boy? I don't know. It's been a while since I played games, you know. But get your kids involved so they understand what's going on. The worst thing you could do is not get the family involved in all of this, and you scare them to death when something happens. That's part of the plan. Everybody has to be on the plan. It's just like escaping your house in a fire. Everybody knows the plans. Everybody knows there's 2 exits. Everybody knows what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. Everybody knows once they get out of the house whose porch to go to, so everybody's together, out of the way of the firemen, and everybody's safe, and you can count your kids, you know, all 7 of them. And your dog, there's your dog, the cat's out, okay, you know, and all that kind of stuff. You do that with prepping for fires in your house, for storms, for getting people home. You've got to prep with your plan, with your family, and you have to test it. You have to make sure everything works. You have to go through your equipment. You have to have all your gear. It's got to have lists. You've got to have lists that has the expiration dates on all your stuff and what bag they're in, and that has to go through, you have to go through that stuff twice a year at the very least. And if you've got a list like that, you know what the dates are. You can just look at the list. You don't have to go through all your bags, because I've got quite a few bags, but they all fit in my car. And they're all set up to throw on our backs. Now, my wife's backpack is 30 pounds. I don't have kids in the house anymore. So we've added a little bit more. And to be honest with you, if you got a wagon, try a wagon. I don't know. I don't know the terrain you're going through. So all these plans, when you go through them, you have to look at where you live, where you're going, which direction, what do I need? Because if you're in the South, possibly you're going from one temperature to another temperature and you don't have to worry about extra clothes. But if you're in Phoenix and you're going to Flagstaff, totally different temperature. If you are in Knoxville, Tennessee, and you're going to Bismarck, North Dakota, how many different clothes are you going to need? So think, plan, and have various locations. And you know what? Take next year's vacation and visit your bug out locations where you think are a perfect place to go. And it could be a relative. Oh, and if it is a relative, let them know that you're coming. I don't mean as it's happening, I mean in advance. Because maybe you can store stuff at their house. If you've got babies, if you're going to your grandparents or your parents' house, or, they're coming to you, have supplies for them too. So really, think about what you're doing and act on your plan. Work it out, talk it out, make sure the plan works. Then you can do, well, what's next? What now? What if? So that's it. So this has been Rich with Prep You, talking about, does your plan work, and making sure that it does. If it doesn't, fix it. So as we always end our videos, thank you, subscribers. We really appreciate it so much. Please pass this on to all your friends and frenemies and relatives and stuff like that. Have them subscribe. Have your kids and your spouse, significant others subscribe. It really works out. And please comment on our videos. We really like the analytics to shoot through the roof, and please take a look at our sponsors. They're a great group, and they're specifically picked out for this channel. But as we end this video, I always say, be aware of your surroundings. Please have at least 3 to 4 months of shelter-in-place food, at least 72 hours of bug-out food, and please, 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 please prep like your life depends on it, because it does. Thanks a lot. Take care.